All right, and we're live broadcasting from a bunker here in San Diego County. This is paraglidingtalk.com. So glad that you're here tonight. We have a special guest. We have Deanna Lucky from Phoenix, which actually before the show, I didn't even say anything. I grew up in Phoenix, so I'm interested to ask some questions about where she flies and where she's at over there. She is a paramotor pilot, and we're going to ask her what she flies, and she's been flying for some time now. She has some unique videos on YouTube, very clean and very nice flying style. I was watching her launches and landings. I was very impressed. Just want to give you a heads up what the show, the plan and the goal for the show is that you can learn something and make your flying safer. And so my name is Robert Michaels. We have guests, Chris, who is Max Para on YouTube. Also, Neil is Para Perspective. He has a YouTube channel as well. And I encourage you to go check out their channels if you want to see some cool flying videos. And so in pursuit of learning everything that I can about the sport, I thought it'd be great if there was a place where pilots could come each week and hang out on the internet live and talk about paragliding. So if you get a chance, go check out the website. You can see what future shows we're going to have. If you have somebody that you think would be great for the show, shoot me a message or an email. You can do that on paraglidingtalk.com. So without any more delay, want to invite you to the video chat, ask some questions, and join us tonight. Amen. So I've got some questions, and we'll just dive right in. Deanna's been flying for some years. How long and how did you get up? How did you get into the sport?
I've been flying for about 6 years now, and it was kind of crazy how it started. I didn't know anything about paragliding or really anything about flying. I was bartending, and a regular of mine that I've known for like a year, he just asked Bill, "Hey, you want to go paragliding with me?" I was like, "Heck yeah, I do." And what is it? I had no idea what it was. And he said, "Hey, meet me at sunrise out this field." And I was like, okay. So he took me for a tandem flight, and I seriously was like, "Bill, I got to do this." And he pointed over to this guy across there. He said, "Well, go talk to that guy. He teaches people." And so I went and talked to him, ended up being Ryan Shaw. And literally 2 weeks later, I was signed up for training. So
that is excellent.
All because my regular came in for a cold beer one day.
So you guys have a whole outfit. Talk about you guys sell motors. That's what you do full time, is sell motors and equipment. So talk to us about that, and we'll. I want to ask you about that a little bit. Tell us about your.
Yeah. So we are instructors as well. So we Ryan's company is called Paradrenaline, and we train students from the months of October up through June is our season, which is awesome. And we are the importers for Nirvana paramotors and Dudek paragliders. So
nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And so I put a link for that website in the description if you want to go check those out. Also, so let me ask this. Now that you're instructing and you know quite a bit, we were talking about the size of your motor. Chris mentioned ahead of the show that you fly a larger motor and you fly a 16-meter wing. Talk about that and why you chose that.
Well, I mean, I didn't start with that. I worked my way up, obviously. And, you know, during training, I trained on a 80cc motor, a top 80. And after a couple months, Ryan's like, "All right, we got to do something more for you here." So I actually got to try the first 160cc motor that Nirvana put out. And it was awesome, you know, double the power. I was like, woohoo. And then I just got it. My wings were getting smaller and smaller, and I was advancing more and more. And Ryan's like, "You could totally fly my motor." So I flew actually a 200cc motor, and then I fly his motor to 230cc as well sometimes. And I just feel it's so much safer actually to have more power. You know, I like to fly low and through the canyon and set myself in like a sticky situation where I got to get the heck out of there. I have the power to do it, you know, and it's so fun to fly a small wing, you know, more advanced you are, the faster you want to go and whatnot. So it works out good for me. Everyone asks me that, but you don't need to. No, I don't need to, but it's nice. I can take 3 steps and get off the ground.
Yeah. Great launch technique and landings. I was watching a couple of videos. So where do you fly in Phoenix? I grew up in Phoenix, in North Phoenix, and I went to Shadow Mountain High School.
Yeah, definitely. So we fly out by more like Lake Pleasant area, so North Phoenix, New River. Now there was an airport, an airfield, local airfield out there, Pleasant Valley Airport, but it just got shut down recently. The gentleman that owned it passed away, unfortunately, so no aviation is going out of there. So now we're kind of doing Wickenburg area and New River. Just so beautiful. Over the lake is awesome. We had the best sunrises and sunsets, which is the only time that we fly. So like, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
We have a question from the chat about your canyon flying. Is canyon flying risky with rotor?
Oh, definitely. Yes. So you only fly. So we don't get to do that every day. That's still a treat for us. I've been doing it for 6 years, and every day I'm like, can we fly the canyon today? But, you know, it has to be so calm. So we get no wind days here a lot, you know, so when students come out and train with us, it's actually a bonus because they're always learning in no wind. And so then when they go home, it's easy, you know, where you learn to fly at the beach sometimes. That wind helps you out every time, you know. So we have a lot of no wind takeoffs, and we wait for those days, and then we can fly the canyon. But that's not an everyday thing because it gets super sketchy.
I've seen some midday flying chaos. So we had a conversation in the last couple shows about. Thank you, baby. The last couple shows have been. We're talking about, hey, it's probably not good if you're newer to be flying midday. So you want to work out the kinks before you go flying midday because it is sketchy. But somebody just asked in the comments, why no free flight people? I've reached out to about 15 different free flight people, and we had Gavin McClurg on. We also had, he's bilingual. Chris Santacroce was on the show, and there was a couple other guys that are free flight. Getty G and Max Martini were on the show, but I don't know what it is with the free flight guys. They won't respond to my emails and my requests. I'm like, come on, guys, let's go represent.
Because they're waiting on a mountain somewhere.
Yeah,
maybe that's right.
Seems like motor is way more popular in the United States than free flight would be.
Yeah, I think paramotoring and paragliding both are actually more popular in Europe. You know, it's expanding more and more here in the States, which is awesome. Yeah, especially more and more women pilots now, which is so rad. So I'm excited about that because when I first started, I'm sure they were out there, but I didn't see them very much. And then I started going to more events. But now there's chicks flying all over, and I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, that is great.
That is good news. It is definitely a dude-heavy sport.
It is, yeah.
I love Margie. If you guys don't know Margie, I hope she's watching. But Margie, she is such a trip. She's a free flight paraglider pilot, and she comes to all the events, and she's just such a kind soul. And she laughs when she catches a thermal. She'll be giggling. You can hear it, and you know how it kind of echoes off the wing. Oh, it's so fun to fly with her. She's
awesome.
Yeah. We need to
another thing that comes up is when I'm on the mountain, like Palomar, for example, we've got a paragliding association here. So occasionally, like someone will find out I also fly a motor, and the immediate response is, "Oh, you're one of those."
That look.
It's so true. Like sometimes we get frowned upon, you know, like because they don't like the sound of the motor, and you know, I get it. To each their own. So.
Yeah.
Like skiers and snowboarders, I guess.
Right?
Yeah. Well, when I talked to Phil Russman, who couldn't be on the show today, he's up in LA. He just texted me back. But when I first called him, I said, hey, what's the, I want to fly. I want to get a paramotor, I want to fly. And he goes, well, Rob, listen, man, there's no wrong answer. But, it's kind of like a sailboat or motorboat. There's nothing wrong with having either one. But, and I just totally fell in love with the weather aspect of it. And just it's incredible. The challenge is like a chess game. Every time you hike up the mountain, there's like a cost, and it's, anyways, it's really fun. I venture to say that you'll end up doing free flight eventually, and I encourage you to do it.
Oh,
It is-
definitely. Yeah, I'm not opposed to it at all. Here where I am, as you know, Robert, there's
Yeah.
not many places for free flying, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
once I get more time and travel more, like, I'm all about it for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about your most epic day of flying, and give us some insight into that, and then we'll move on to the more technical questions.
There's so many good days. I'd say maybe one of my most memorable days was in Czech Republic. We went over to the Nirvana factory in the Czech Republic, and we got to stay there for a week. And one day there were these low clouds, and it was amazing. There was one hole that we could find, and myself, my friend Alex, and Ryan, we all went up there, and we were just foot dragging clouds all day. Oh my God, it was amazing. Like, no one can understand that feeling until you actually do it. You know, you can dream about it. You can be in an airplane looking out at the clouds, but until you actually are foot dragging clouds and feeling the mist in your face, it's the best day ever. It was awesome. So that was probably one of my best flights. On that same trip, I got to fly over like 4 different castles. I landed in some guy's backyard that had a winery. He wined us and dined us. We spent the night, woke up the next morning, took off from his backyard and flew back to the factory. I mean, it was the most amazing trip ever. So it was really awesome.
That's epic.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I don't even know where the Czech Republic is. That's awesome.
There's some really nutty guys there. I think I saw a BuzzFeed video where a guy built a small ultralight plane to commute to work.
Ah, yes, I've seen that. There's some
yeah.
like weird half Russian people.
Is that the dude with the weird hat? And he's like, I think he has. Yeah, okay, I did see that.
They are crazy there, but they're just so friendly. Like, we were just landing in these people's yards and like dodging cows while landing. And they came out with a tray of espresso and brandy to warm us up. Like, what? I was like, I need to move here. It was awesome.
Yeah. So have you ever landed out somewhere? And this is an open question for everybody. You ever landed out somewhere where you didn't necessarily want to land out?
I'll start. I did one time, and you know, always like, oh, that's not going to happen to me, you know. And it was with Carl, who actually introduced me to you.
Yeah,
Robert.
Carl, what's up?
Yes,
Trying
Carl
to get him.
there. Yeah, he was there that day, and I was just like having fun doing wing overs, and I saw this like creek bed, and I wanted to go down and see what was in there, so I spiraled down. And then as soon as I started to give it a little bit of gas, I had apparently spun all the fuel out of my carburetor, so my motor quit on me. So I had about maybe 20 feet to figure it out, and it's all cactus out here. So I was just like, cactus, cactus. Oh, okay. You know, just focus and don't freak out. And in the meantime, Ryan, he can see what's going on. He's on radio. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm landing. Clearly, you know.
That's what I call the cactus slalom.
I like dodged the cactus, jumped over a bush, skied in, and all I did was just like a couple bruises on my knuckles is all. But I was stuck in the middle. What's that?
You biffed it?
No, I landed fine.
Oh.
And so I was sliding towards a big bush that looked super prickly because everything has, you know, needles and whatever else on it. So I at the very end had to stop. So I just sat it down, let the cage take the rest, flared as hard as I could. And then my wing barely kind of flopped onto it, but like no damage done except for a couple, you know, cuts on my knuckles. But I was more like, how the heck am I going to get out of here? You know, everyone else was flying and whatnot. So
what'd you do?
I totally, Ryan found one spot. He's like, but you'll never get to it. You have to go through that creek bed that you're trying to dive into.
Oh no.
And I was like, okay. So they went back to go get the truck, and I didn't want to just sit there. So I walked over with my wing, found it, left my wing there, went back, got my motor, went, and I looked at it, and I said, well, Deanna, you got one chance. If you don't do it, you don't do it. So I somehow did it. I took off in the smallest area, just missed this cactus on my way up, and radioed.
That's the best feeling.
And I was so proud of myself. I didn't care what anyone else said. I was like, And I just radioed them. I'm like, oh, no, I'll be able to meet you for breakfast. I'll be there in a minute. And they were like, what? It was pretty cool.
230
Yeah.
cc's. You get 3 steps. That's all you need.
Yeah, I have what's considered a powerful motor, and that one's way bigger than mine. I got a Vitarazi Moster 185.
Oh, yeah.
I just got a little guy. Little
doing top 80?
Yep,
Yeah.
little top 80.
Mm-hmm.
The top 80 is a good motor. I can fly top 80. I just don't climb that fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can't tell. Chris is a big man. He's gigantic. He's like 6'2". He's a beast.
That's impressive. An 80 cc will, it can do some work. That's for sure.
Well, I'm not doing anything with a top 80 using a 16-meter wing. That's Deanna.
One day we went flying and Chris came hiking up and I'm like, what is he doing? And he had his harness on one shoulder and then he had his wing and everything else on the other shoulder. And he's not, if it's packed up and you're free flying, it's convenient. You just kind of hike up and it's nice. He's doing it like the hard way where his arms are out and he's like, and it's a gnarly hike. And I think we've done that probably where it's a sledder and we do 3 of them at a time,
Yeah, but the motor equipment doesn't come with like a nice rucksack.
Yeah, that's true. I thought about bringing mine the other day when it was a sledder at Torrey. And I'm like, kind of defeats the purpose of coming over here. I landed at a nude beach, by the way. Black's Beach is it's a nude beach. I was not ready for that. And it wasn't like, it was just a bunch of old farts. Nude old men that needed sun.
It's never what you want it to be.
Like what?
No. The dream doesn't exist. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, one question from the chat from Roger Chandler. Last question: which is safer, free flight or motor? And I could chime in. I do both, but I think our guest should throw her opinion in there.
She's gonna say motor for sure.
Well. I know I am because that's, I feel that way because, I get all the good air, I fly in the sunrise and then just before sunset when everything's so nice and butter. So I don't go up when you guys go up when it's sketchy up there and get bumped around and catch thermals and get collapses. I try to avoid all that. But like I said, I'm not opposed to trying it, and so that's my perspective.
Right.
But you guys, you're the free flyers. You should know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that paragliding pilots can have a safe experience in the right location. If you're in a place where there's no lack of places to land, like just a smooth green hill with nothing on it, then yeah, it's as safe as can be. But if you're in a place with no bailout options, then yeah, you have one chance to get it right with a paraglider, and in some cases that's it. You're toast, or you're hanging in a tree. Your equipment's blown. And that's if you're lucky and not hurt. But with a motor, I think you have the added option of like, oh, I messed up that landing. Let me just power on and come back around and try it again. But then there's other drawbacks like landings and takeoffs are more sketchy with a very big swinging prop on your back. You've got to be good at what you're doing.
Right. Yeah, you have to have good technique and, good training is always good. I feel like it's so safe as long as you fly in the right conditions. You know what I mean? And you're the one that you make the sport what it is. Like you can either just cruise and be relaxing, or you can be going upside down all the time, or whatever. So it's all what you want it to be. So you're the one that pushes the limits in this sport. So I feel like it could be just as safe as you want it to be and just as dangerous as you want it to be.
Yeah, I'm gonna say motors are probably more safe, but I'll say this: the free flight pilot is much more conscious of landing zones and altitude, whereas I think with the motor, you're kind of like, I'll just motor back up and find another one later.
Yeah, you got a little wiggle room there for sure.
Yep. But yeah, I've been in some predicaments. We did a little cross country from Little Black, and we went to Twin Peaks and got up to about $4,000. And I say $4,000 because that's the ceiling. And and there's like a military airspace above that. So we didn't go higher than $4,000. And then we went cross country from there to Twin Peaks. And that was my first cloud-based day. It was super cool. But I blew it. You go watch that video later. It's on my channel, but it was crazy. And I landed in rotor on the back of the hill. Didn't mean to, got blown over the back, and it was crazy. But everything worked out for the good. I got away with one. But I think if I had a motor, just take off and I've been fine. So let me ask this question. What advice do you give? Because we've got a lot of aspiring pilots. Well, we do this, like right now we have close to 50 people watching live, and then we'll have a bunch of comments and people asking questions later. But most of them are aspiring. What do you tell the aspiring pilot?
Well, I was just thinking how we're talking about, you know, going back around if you don't get your landing the first time. So, you know, I've been flying for 6 years and I still never come in with power on, you know, because I just feel like it's so much safer to come in with your motor off, because you don't have a spinning prop on your back. If you say someone new, they were to take a knee or whatever, your first instinct is to push the throttle, right? You're going to hold that throttle down and then you have a spinning prop going again. So I always tell people shut their motors off when you come into land. And I think it makes you a better pilot, because I shut my motor off way up high, like you know, like I'd be a free flyer then. And then you have to learn to gauge it that way, make your S turns, come in, and instead of being like, oh, didn't make it, power around, go back around again. Because that way, when you do have a motor out, you know exactly where you're going to be landing every time, you know? So it's good to practice that every time. Never come in with power, shut your motor off way up high, glide down. And I think that that's really helpful for people that, you know, struggle on their landings and not being able to gauge. What else? Get good instruction. I feel like, you know, people that teach themselves, you know, to each their own. You can teach yourself, but I feel like you'd end up spending more money on maybe hurting yourself or having to repair your equipment that gets broken. And if you just maybe even you develop bad habits. So I just feel like getting good instruction is just going to save you in the long run. And I don't know. What other questions?
I heard a question about, and this was on Gavin McClurg's podcast. If you haven't checked that out, go to cloudbasemayhem.com. Check out his podcast. Incredible pilot. He flies in the Red Bull X Alps every year, and he's flown across the, obviously flew across the Alps, but he flew across the Rockies doing fly camping, and then he did the Big 3 in Alaska, and he's got some really good videos on that. It's all free flight. Go check those out. Red Bull is the one who filmed those with that whatever $1 million camera. It's incredible. The footage is incredible. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. But we had one of his questions on his podcast. If you could change one thing about the sport, what would it be concerning like bad habits, things like that?
For me, what would I change?
Yeah. If you could change one thing that people are doing that you're like, don't do that. Like you mentioned the motor thing.
There's probably a lot of things. Well, I don't know. But I mean, I'm not perfect either. I'm sure people look at me and they're like, why is she doing that? You know? So I don't know. That's a tricky question. I feel like I might piss someone off if I answer that.
So Gavin asked somebody that, and one of the things he said, and this stuck with me, and it really helped me, and I was so glad that question got asked, because I was doing it. I didn't even consciously know I was doing it. Getting in the harness too soon. I'm running on launch, and I still have 100 feet left, and I felt my butt come off the ground a little bit, and I'm running and trying to get past that area. But then as soon as I felt my feet leave the ground, I would dump it, and I would jump in the seat. Well, it did end up getting me on a couple times. And so that was something he said, well, that's such a critical time when you're getting in your harness and you're low to the ground. You're not sure what your wing's doing just yet, the direction, all that. You don't have to be sitting comfortably in the first 2 seconds. And that was his answer, and that really helped me.
We have one question from the chat. What wing are you flying, Deanna?
Right now I'm flying the Hadron XX, made by Dudek. So yeah, that wing is awesome. It has flaps on it actually. So if you wanted to go up and free fly with it, it's awesome. You pull those flaps in and you will glide for days. It's really nice. Super good.
Nice.
I thought you were flying.
Go ahead.
What I thought you were flying that, Chris. Didn't you fly?
No, I fly a Mac Charger, and it's a pretty popular wing for beginner pilots. And I'm looking to get into a new wing because I have speed bar attached to my wing. That's how you know a paramotor pilot's getting bored of his wing. He's always on the speed bar. And so it's time. But no, the Dudek and MacPair are pretty good companies, both. What I'd say is that I have a friend that flies a Nucleon, which is I believe one of the intermediate wings that Dudek carries for motoring.
Right. They have a Nucleon, and then they have the Nucleon WRC, and then they have the Nucleon XX, which is the newest wing, which is super nice. And then they have the Universal for beginners, and the Universal, the reason why they call it is because it's for paramotoring and for paragliding. So it's nice. It's like 2 wings in one, and it's a beginner to intermediate wing, so it's something you can grow into. And a lot of people are using it for free flying right now, and they absolutely love it. And then when they're ready to go paramotor, then they have that too, and it's just 1 wing. So I think it's pretty cool that Dudek, did that. That's nice. It's
how much acro do you do, Deanna?
Yeah, I mean, I do wing overs and stuff like that, but I don't do anything too crazy, I don't think,
The Hydron's a more high performance wing for those kind of maneuvers. Also, it has some good speed to it. So you have the capability and the power with the motor. So your setup is very high end.
So I guess I could say I don't do that much, but with, like you said, with that wing, if I just think about turning, I'm like turning, and and it's awesome. That wing it's so nice, super agile.
Sounds like it fits you well.
Yeah, I love it. I started with the Synthesis 2, which is like a little bit up from the Universal, right near the Universal, and then did the Nucleon WRC, and now and then the Snake XX, and now the Hadron XX. So, I've got to try quite a few wings. I'm very fortunate. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's not fair though. That you work at the place, you just go and grab one. Just go grab one off the shelf.
I have a question for you, Deanna. Do you guys ever get orders for free flight wings from Dudek?
Yeah. Oh, we have all sorts of. We have over 120 wings in stock all the time. So we have every wing you can think of, beginner to advanced, and all free flying also. So yeah, we got all the wings. The Colt 2, Optic, Freeway. We got them. Definitely.
Nice.
Yeah.
One of the questions in the chat was, how did your family feel about you doing powered paragliding?
Yeah. So at first they were like, "Oh, you were doing what?" Like,
is that where they pull you behind a boat?
Like, no.
Oh, I love that.
Everybody has that. Yeah. I'm like, no, that's not it. But
I used to tell them that I'm being dragged behind the boat, and I go by myself, so I operate the boat with a remote control from the air.
It's a drone boat.
Yeah. No, they're so cool. Like I've always been an adrenaline junkie my whole life. I wanted to be a race car driver, and whatever, like anything with speed. I want to do anything that's dangerous. Like, how can we make it more dangerous? And I think I get that from my dad, because he's the same way.
More fun.
Yeah, I am. I'm a good time. But so they didn't understand it at first, so it made them nervous. But what's so cool is I got to take them both up on a tandem flight with me, and they understood it. They saw it wasn't dangerous, and that they saw how passionate I was about it. So they're just like so supportive. I got to take my sister up with me, and she is so afraid of heights. Like, can't even look from the second floor down without getting dizzy. And I love her so much that she went and chanced that with me, and it's awesome. So they're so supportive, and it just helps me so much love it that much more.
That's hilarious. I'm trying to convince my wife once I get enough hours to go with me. We'll go do a tandem. But it's probably going to be a while.
Yeah, it's a big wing. It's more calm. One quick question from the chat. What does the XX represent on that one wing? I think it was the Nucleon XX.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was like their anniversary, so they came out with the XX. So that year, all their wings had the XX on them, and it was the anniversary of Dudek. So that's why they did that.
I've heard nothing bad about those wings, by the way.
I was thinking it stood for extremely extreme.
Extremely extreme.
Right. Or for the extreme.
Yeah. So do you still keep a logbook?
I don't. I never did. I know. I knew I was gonna get in trouble for that. I'm like, they're gonna ask me how many hours I have, how many flights I've done. I have no idea. I don't, but that's a lot of work. I just go out and have fun.
So if you're planning on doing free flight, I encourage you, write down your logbook. And I'll tell you why. Because if you don't write down your logbook, it's not very easy to get signed off. One of the first things that they asked me was, where's your logbook? To fly at Torrey Pines, free flight, you've got to have a logbook. And it took me a little while to get enough hours so I could even fly there. And when I showed up with the right stuff, they couldn't say no. They wanted to, because don't tell anyone, but I'm for the most part self-taught.
Oh, see, I could do that right back.
Yeah. So for the record, my instructor is on the PPG Bible. His picture's on the front.
Okay.
Yeah, you have Bill Rossman mentoring you.
Yes. He was the first guy that I talked to. And so the thing is I can't technically call him my instructor because I never gave him money, or like I fix his air conditioner, stuff like that. But
are you kidding? That's an expensive repair. I call that a fair trade.
Yeah, he might have won that one, actually.
Yeah. He called me yesterday and he's like, I'm gonna install one of those Nest thermostats. Can you come help me? And then like I told him I can't do it until Friday or whatever, and he's like, I'm just gonna go for it. And so he did it. Good job, Phil. If you're watching this, you're champ. Didn't even have to call me. Yeah. So yeah, tedious but useful. PPG Flyer, Trey. I sent you an invite. Where are you at, buddy? You need to come join us. He's in the chat right now. PPG Flyer. You guys know him? You should.
Trey?
Yeah.
Trey Murdoch?
Nope. Trey Sapp. Watch, he'll log in right now. I sent him an invite. Yeah, so the logbook's very good. And also, there was a guy that mentioned something in here. I think, what's his name? Boss? Something or other? Sorry, Boss. Boss Bros. Boss Bros mentioned that he's getting a wing and he's going to start ground handling. And that is one of the most critical things, in my opinion, in paragliding, is ground handling. And so maybe talk a little bit about that and how you progressed in your ground handling.
Oh, yeah. So I mean, I trained for quite a while because when you, how Ryan trains, you use all of his equipment. So I think he was really scared. So he trained me for like a long time, and made sure that, I just got down everything I needed to do. So I ran with that wing. I trained in August. You know how it is here in August? It is so freaking hot. And I think I lost like 7 pounds in those 2 weeks. So I don't know. It was like an extra bonus for me. But yeah, so, I just ran with that wing. And another guy was training with me at the same time. He's a fireman. So he was like going, and we'd go. And then we'd be done at the end of the run. And he'd look at me and he'd say, are you doing one more? I'd be like, heck yeah, I'm doing one more, and he'd be like, oh yeah, okay, and then we'd be both walking up when we kicked each other's butts during training. It was awesome. But you have to get your ground handling down so that you know, when you incorporate everything together, your body has to know exactly what to do, and everything happens so fast. You know, you multitask like crazy taking off. You have a throttle in your hand, you know, this running motor on your back, which is heavy. And so it can get crazy, you know. So if you just do your ground handling and then also, you know, just get used to that motor on your back and, you know, getting used to the power of it without it being attached to anything. And that's what Ryan did with me. And I just, you know, got my technique down, and after weeks of training, finally got off the ground. But just make sure your body knows exactly what to do, you know, as soon as it needs to, and then you're ready to put a motor on your back. But if you still have to think about it and second guess it, and your body doesn't naturally just move the way it's supposed to, yeah, you're not ready yet. So
they recommend 20 hours of ground handling before you even fly in free flight.
Oh, wow.
20 hours.
No, that's a
And
lot.
the pilot that I was bouncing a lot of my questions off of in the very beginning, he was like, I want you to be able to do like a helicopter on the ground before you even do your first flight. And because I kept telling him, he's like, dude, you just go spend the money and go get training. And I'm like, I learn slow, and I don't want to, you know, spend the family vacation up there and all the money, you know? And so anyways, I had 20 hours before I even did my first flight. So do you guys have a bunny hill where you guys train?
Mm-mm. Where we are?
Yeah.
Well, they probably have a big open field.
Yes. It's just a big dirt lot, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need hills are kind of unwieldy.
We want it flat.
Yeah.
The flatter the better. So no one's rolling an ankle or anything.
So paraglider pilots tend to find themselves on a hillside waiting for the weather to be good. It's called para-waiting. It's awesome. No, it's not. But no, like a lot of the training ends up in paragliding is very similar to paramotoring. You just spend a lot of time building a wall, kiting the wing, getting used to being in the reverse position to forward position to reverse. Sometimes you'll have somebody tow you up with a little line, get a few feet off the ground, and you know the progression is very similar until you strap the motor on. Okay, then it becomes a completely different animal. Because I found that because it's always a low hook-in point with paragliding, and I'm down here on my hips kiting, and then as soon as I clip in, it's automatically higher above my center of gravity. Is so weird.
Yeah.
So it's just that
for you to do that transition is crazy, you know. Plus, when you take off paragliding, you're like leaning forward, arms back.
Oh yeah, your
like,
torpedo position.
Yeah, and it's super opposite for us, where you're like, you know, you should be leaning back, let the motor push you, arms, you know, shoulder height. So yeah,
Rob, take notes because Rob's going to be flying a motor.
I was gonna say, when paragliders come train with us, we're always like, hey, we're gonna break all the bad habits right now that you have.
The most popular question in the chat at this time is, Deanna, how many props have you gone through?
I wrote that down.
I broke one prop.
Wow, that's good.
And that was at Monument Valley. That place is tough to take off. Yeah. I was running, getting tired. And in the mornings, it's slightly uphill that you have to run, and that doesn't help. And the altitude is crazy. Once you get up in the air, though, it's so worth it. But yeah, so, you know, I got lazy. I lifted my feet a little bit as soon as I felt the motor get light on my back, and I sat her down. So yeah, that was good. And Ryan's dad fixes the props. So he fixed my prop for me that day, and I got to fly that afternoon, which was awesome. So thanks, Dave.
That's an art form, fixing props.
Dave hooked it up.
Yeah, but you know, like I've gotten chips in my prop and stuff because taking off, leaning back, and we have the gravel lot and whatnot. So it's hard to keep a clean prop around here in Arizona.
Yeah, I grew up in Phoenix, obviously, so we spent a lot of time in the desert, and I just can't think of where to fly.
Hey Trey, how you doing?
What's up, guys?
Made it. What's up,
What's up, man?
Hi, Trey.
Yeah. So that's pretty rad.
What's up, guys?
What's the crossroads that you guys do your training at? I'm just interested for my personal knowledge.
Yeah, so Carefree Highway, you know where that is?
Yep, I sure do.
Okay, out by Lake
Cave
Pleasant.
Creek. Oh, way out there. Okay.
Well, yeah, so no, it's more by the lake. So
Okay.
Lake Pleasant Parkway and Carefree Highway, basically.
Okay. Yeah,
So you haven't been out here for a while. Things have changed.
no, it's
Growing like crazy.
Yes, I do air conditioning. Well, I did air conditioning for a living. They were just breaking ground out there, and I did a couple jobs out there. And I was like, why would anybody want to move so far away? It's so weird. Now they've got that 303, the loop.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. And the
Yeah.
houses are cheap over there.
Yeah, I know. But it is a pretty area. It's so nice. And by the lake. It's nice. I like it.
That's great. So you guys just have a big old field. Is it like a grass field or is it just dirt lot or what?
Grass. You should know better.
No, it looks like here. I'm going to share a screen here. Sorry, I'm going to share a screen here.
Bring it.
So it looks like there's a lot of scrubby shrubs.
Exactly. And that green stuff that you see there, that's like not real grass. Those are people that pay money to have fake grass put in.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So is this the valley that we're looking at right here that you train out of?
So let me figure it out. So
yeah, what do you think? Am I around this lake?
right around there. Wait, what is that like?
That's
Lake Pleasant?
That's Peoria Lakes.
Let's see. I don't know if that's it.
No, okay.
Maybe, I think a little bit more north.
That's the desert.
That's Lake Pleasant right there. What do you think?
Boom.
Yeah, so there it is. That's it. Yeah. So we're right.
Pleasant.
We're just a little bit, let's see, southwest of Lake Pleasant.
Okay. So right around this area here, huh?
Yeah, let's see.
Not
yeah,
bad.
there's a harbor. So, and then see, there's like a little airport that was right over there off of 74, Highway 74. That's the big lot. So right out there. Other way. Yeah.
Oh, I think I see it right here with all the solar panels.
Yeah. Right near there. Well, kind of near that. A little bit more to the east. Yeah. Right around there.
I don't know what I just clicked on. Things are going crazy over here. Okay, there we go.
Oh, Pleasant Valley Airport.
There it is.
This looks great right here. Like you got pavement that you can lay the wing down on.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
We don't like to do that. It's better to do it on the dirt, actually. It doesn't get ripped up as much. So.
Oh, so it's pretty coarse, tarmac, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
You'd think the heat would mess with the wing material too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it can't. It gets super dusty out there, that's for sure. Our wings never are clean. And we go to the Endless Foot Drag in Arkansas every year, and we just take all our wings and we fly them all. So we just clean them all off. They're so beautiful after that place. We love it.
Hey, how do you clean your wing? Because I've never cleaned my wing, not once. In fact, yesterday I shook about 2 pounds of sand out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Great question.
Each line is the worst. Yeah, that'll beat your wing up. Yeah. No, just drag that thing around in some grass. Cleans it right up. So, it's funny. It's true, though. That's how I do it.
Yeah. That's like for all the free flight guys that are into cross country over here. That's their only reason why they go to Torrey Pines. They'd be like, yeah, we'll just go there to clean our wings. They call it Bory Pines. Yeah. So what you mentioned before we started the show that you were involved in a couple competitions. Maybe talk about that a little bit and how you got involved in that.
Yeah, so just one. I just competed in one at the Endless Foot Drag. That was fun. We set up the pylons and we did the shamrock, the clover. That was awesome. That was so fun. That's a good time to fly around pylons. That's a trip. It's nothing like the world championships that they do. You know, those guys are crazy. But so we set those up in Arkansas at the Endless Foot Drag, and then they had like a course where you have to drag your feet for a certain amount of time and length, and bomb drop and spot landing and all that. So it was a good time. It was a good experience. But I enjoyed it, but I I just get so nervous for those things. Like, I just want to go have fun. I just want to go and fly and explore, but I start to overthink everything, and my nerves get to me. So I don't know. I'm glad I did it though. It was awesome. It was good. I think there was like 14 people that competed.
So what did that entail as far as competition goes? You said foot drag, and then was there a distance thing or acro? What did it involve?
So no acro. We just did like the clover leaf around the pylons was one of the tasks. Spot landings on each of them, because you take off and land for each task. So your takeoff and your landing had to be timed. And one of the tasks was kill your motor like 200 feet up, and then be able to land. And whoever's the closest, you got me. And then the bomb drop, it was like a wiffle ball that you carry up with you, and then you fly over and you got to drop it down, and hopefully it lands near the target. And those things don't weigh anything. That was tough, that one. And then the course they set up for the foot dragging. So you just, foot drag the grass, and they have like different wooden poles set up, zigzag. So you just have to go through the course. Every time, if you are to lift up your feet, you get docked points. So you try and make it through. I thought it was like a little bit drizzly and crazy winds that day, and everyone they did so great. It was fun. Good times.
And that was in Arkansas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, crazy.
On that grass.
Yeah, at least it was some grass.
That stuff you call grass.
Do you guys still do the 5-cone kick while landing?
Oh, yeah. So there was one cone you had to kick on right before takeoff. So not 5, just 1.
No, I mean for landing, for spot landings.
I don't think we did that. Mm-mm.
I've heard of all kinds of fun little like competitions that you see at fly-ins. I'm familiar with the one where you go trimmers out and you go for a landing, and the goal is to kick over 5 cones before your feet hit the ground.
There you go. Yeah, that sounds like a good time.
Yeah, I've even got videos here that'll help me get those skills up, but I'm nowhere near that good. I'm still just proud of being able to land on a single spot.
Trey, did it finally melt off a little bit?
Oh yeah, for sure. We flew this last week. We flew from 11 a.m. to about 5 p.m. I mean, the whole day. It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. There was about 7 of us locally that flew out of there. It was good times. And we're planning another one this weekend if we can.
Nice.
Where are you at, Trey?
Videos?
East Coast, Pennsylvania. So just right outside of Philly.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's freezing there right now?
Much freezing, yes. We fly in 25-degree weather, no problem. Heated gloves and jackets.
I'm such a baby. I'm so spoiled. And it's like 40 out. I'm like, no way. Not going flying.
Yeah. I was in Miami recently, and that sucks. I was in Miami recently, and we had the weirdest cold front come through. I didn't even bring warming layers to Miami with my motor. So when I woke up and I looked at the temperature, it started with a 4. I was like, nah, I'm staying in bed.
The flip side is us northern guys, we cry when it's about 85 degrees. So
I just go fly to cool off.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yep. Let the videos begin.
Oh yeah.
At least
Absolutely.
It's finally starting to warm up a little bit. It got cold here today, but when I say cold, it got to 60.
That's my kind of weather. Yeah.
Us San Diego folks, we're not ever allowed to talk about weather.
No.
We're spoiled. The weatherman job here is great. You get 6 figures, and they go, "Okay, Trey, what's the weather like?" "Nice. Back to you."
Yeah. Yep.
Same as yesterday.
It's fantastic. Back to you, Bob. Yeah, that's why we pay the big bucks.
Yeah, I guess so. There's a question in the chat. That's a good question. What is Deanna's vision for the future relationship of U.S. consumers with the EU manufacturers? Is there room for any U.S.-based engine and wing company if product liability can ever be mitigated?
Oh, good question. Who asked that?
Well,
It was Yankee and SC1.
you cut
Yankees
out
a
at the
champ.
very end.
I'll repeat it. What is Deanna's vision for the future relationship of U.S. consumers with EU manufacturers? Is there room for any U.S.-based engine and wing company if product liability can ever be mitigated?
So, being like an all-American product for us to make here.
I believe, yeah. Let's see.
Wait, do we not have an American wing here?
No, we don't, because they're too expensive to make here. We have some companies in Europe that mainly design, but they don't make them in Europe. They make them in other countries. I think Blackhawk was the only one I ever heard of that had their own line, but it's just cheaper for them to use companies from other countries.
Yeah.
So labor intensive, I got to imagine.
So Dudek is in Poland. So we went to the factory there, and they make all their wings there. That was an amazing experience. That factory, holy moly, there's so many women there doing so many things. They're testing each line with, and testing the length of it, the strength of it. They have a laser cutter that cuts their wings out. We got to see all of that. It was so awesome. And the owners are so cool with us. They ask us questions all the time. Like what, me being, a woman and smaller, maybe not as strong, what would make it easier for you? And what are you looking for when you fly? And they ask Ryan what he's looking for when he flies. And it's nice that they come and they come to us and ask us what we think, because, we're the ones flying the product and putting it out there for the public. So they're a really good company. They're awesome.
So do you think there could be an American manufacturer, or is there just not a good market or a business opportunity for that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see that right now, only because it's so much more popular in Europe, and they've just been doing it for so much longer. I don't want to say that there can't be one, but I don't know. That's a hard question to answer. That would be nice. Like, of course, I would want that, to happen, have an American brand. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm happy with what I fly, so I'm not going to change it.
Yeah, me too.
I think there's a craving for American-made motors. That's for sure. I think people accept that, European gliders and other foreign gliders are just, they've been made for so long, they're great. But American-made motor, I think, American made and Japanese too. Japanese is another one that people are interested in.
What was that guy that you were talking about, Perspective?
Yeah.
He made his own motor, right?
Yeah. I think I got to look into it exactly. I think he took a Predator generator motor from Harbor Freight or something like that and made his own flywheel for it and all kinds of other, he made his entire paramotor. I don't know if any of the other guys seen him in any of the group chats on Facebook there, but
we need to try to have them on.
You know what I have seen?
Absolutely.
I have seen home-built electric paramotor rigs here in the U.S. do quite well, and it's a lot of them source RC plane parts.
Yeah,
brushless motors, carbon fiber props that are smaller than ours, battery packs that are chained together, and they get a decent flight time on some of those designs.
Once that next step in battery technology hits, man, the world will never be the same. That is for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Jose said if Honda made a paramotor, I'd buy one.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
Yeah,
my buddy in Miami flies a wing with a big Honda logo on the underside of it. So
really?
They're sponsoring, but they're not making anything.
I had a generator that I ran to the ground. It was a Honda, and that thing, I sold it. It still ran like a champ, and I beat the snot out of that thing.
They're good motors. By the way, one more for Deanna. Nirvana Motors, anything new coming out?
I'm so glad you asked that. I forgot to ask that.
Yeah, so we have a new lightweight motor coming out, which actually I got to test, was it a couple months ago? They came out. It's for people my size that don't want to carry the weight or whatever, or just, and there's a lot of people that the first question they ask is, well, how heavy is your motor? And I'm like, I don't know. It works great. It's not like I cook with it on or run around with it on. I just put it on my back, walk out to my wing, and take off. So the weight doesn't bother me, but it does to a lot of people. And we've been telling Nirvana about that for a long time. It's hard for them to grasp that, but they did, and they've been working on it for a super long time. I got to test it, and it's a 160cc motor and a 200cc motor that they're coming out with. Hopefully it'll totally be finished in a couple months, and we'll have them here in the US. And it's like crazy light. Like I was landing and I felt like I was just tippy-toeing down, like there's nothing on my back, and still with all the power. So it's awesome. So
do you feel like those smaller motors with light liquid cooled systems, because they're so small, they make it more complex?
I don't know about complex. I don't know. You know, I've been flying my motor for so long. I just love the way it fits. It's so comfortable, and I know it's reliable and everything. And I'll take comfort, you know, up in the air for a longer period of time than I would something that's maybe not as comfortable, because, you know, even though it's still nice to fly these lighter motors and whatnot, but I just feel like you have to take away some things for it to be lighter, and a lot of it is comfort. So I don't know. Just depends.
Kyle O is working on making his lighter. I think he's practicing welding. Did you see that, Trey?
Yeah.
He put out a video of him welding, and I'm like, what's he up to? And then he stopped. He stopped sharing with us, and I'm like, oh, he's up to something.
Either that or something happened. Yeah.
Or his welds were looking really good. I was impressed. TIG welding's no joke.
Yeah, no, he knows what he's doing.
He's been cranking away on that thing too. It's pretty cool.
Did you see his shop, like some of his gear in there? Like, dude, where did you get all that?
Well, I mean, he's got a pretty good career, so he's probably got some extra cheddar to spend.
Maybe. Well, he's a drug dealer. Just tell everyone, okay?
They make all the money.
All the
They make
money.
all the money. That is a fact.
Yes, I hear Viagra goes for like $80 a pill in some places.
More than that.
Big Pharma Kyle.
Hey, Deanna, what is the weight of the new engines that you are testing?
Gosh, you know, I should know this. You know,
Approximate.
Thinking it was like 40 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Electric start?
No. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Whoa, I would have
So
never
I know
guessed
who
that.
they're trying to rival.
What's that?
Yeah, they're trying to like come out with the Nitro 200 like
Competitor.
competitor. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know too much.
I mean, you got to
about that.
compete with that. So that's really good. I like competition. So that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it drives innovation in a big way.
It really does.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If it wasn't there, then we wouldn't be coming out with more stuff, right? So,
Right. That's a good thing.
To bring the balance, have you ever looked at those Scout setups?
Have I?
Has anybody in here flown the Scout? I'm a free flight guy, so I don't know nothing.
Negative.
I have not.
I watched some of those videos that they put out in the manufacturing. If you get a chance, take a peek at those. Holy moly, they are serious about their creation. And I know Tucker God, he flies around on one and like he loves it, and everybody that you talk to. But you know, it's the Mercedes-Benz of paramotoring, from what I understand.
Oh, I disagree.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No,
Really?
the
Cost
Scout.
wise.
No, yes, they are a little expensive. But
That's
a buddy
right.
of mine who was flying a Scout in Miami, his Scout cut out on him over the Everglades, and he showed us a video of him like flying, and he's just on the power light, and the engine stops, and he's over a giant swamp full of gators, and you see him reaching back and pulling on the pull start, like, no, I'm not getting eaten today. It's just like,
Oh man.
and then
Alligators.
get it started again, but the Scout has a Vitarazi Moster 185 on it usually, so and that's the same engine I have. So
Didn't know that.
the frame is what the Scout is. It's that proprietary airfoil design that's supposed to counteract torque, and that's their proprietary design. I've heard of people loving it, hating it, but what I really look at is the Vitarazi Moster, and that's a solid engine for reliability.
Yeah. Big engine.
Jersey Custom said, "Don't forget the flat top, Robert."
Oh, he's trying to pick a fight.
Are you talking about the launch where it's flat and I run off the cliff and do my free flight?
No, the flat top paramotors is another competitor, but they've got crumple zones.
I like that.
Yep.
That poor soul.
Built-in safety.
That guy he was just trying to be funny and it totally backfired.
I don't think he was.
Don't kick owls in the air. Okay?
No, please don't.
Please don't.
Please don't shoot a gun.
That's
from
only the
air.
beginning of that story too.
Yeah. Don't do it. He lives down the street from me. I don't want him coming over here.
Right?
I want to be on the show. Like, no.
You'd probably get a lot of viewers.
You probably
Yeah, I know.
would.
No,
You probably
listen,
would.
I'm sick like that. I considered that. No joke. And then I thought how horrible it would be
At least
for the
you're
flying
honest about
community.
No, you would definitely burn some bridges. Like there's a YouTube video. We don't usually bring negative stuff up, but there was a death that happened here in San Diego in Imperial Beach associated with a dealer for flat top motors. I won't really name him. He's been brought up in the chat, but yeah, there's some history.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Pretty
It's
sure
what it is.
everyone here knows that one.
Yeah.
It feels like we're talking about Voldemort, he who shall not be named.
We shall not be named.
You know, paragliding brings a lot of unique personalities to it, that's for sure.
I remember when I first saw one, I was driving down the 8. And by the way, Deanna's from Southern California. So, I mean, kind of. So,
Well, yeah,
right?
there for 25 years, San Clemente.
yeah, San Clemente's close enough. I'm going to save my comments. We're here in San Diego, this little expensive, ridiculously expensive place. Oh, by the way, I forgot to do this. I just want to put a plug in here for the show. Some of the things that we talk about on here might save your life. And if you want to support the show financially, you can do it through the website under our support page. And I set up a Patreon account. And because, there's going to come times when I'm not going to feel like doing it. Like today, I got the flu. I didn't really feel like doing it. I'm like, but a little bit of money encouraged me to do that. So I'm brutally honest. Like
yeah,
that.
I feel the same way, especially with YouTube changing their partner program rules.
Oh, YouTube, get it together, YouTube. Yeah. So, but anyways, if you do have questions afterwards, I'm really responsive with the questions. If you didn't get to see the show live and you have questions, please feel free to ask those. Again, if you got somebody that you thought would be great on the show, and I got to give a shout out to Carl in Colorado. Really appreciate Carl giving the call to Deanna, and Deanna, thank you for responding. I like I said earlier, I went out to like 3 different free flight guys and no one responded.
You did surprise me when you're like, it's this Thursday. I was like, what?
Yeah. Well, I told the guys last week, I'm like, we don't have anyone for the next show, so we might just be on here talking, and that's it. It is paragliding talk. So,
Yeah.
But if there's any other questions in the chat, it's 4 after 7. I don't want to cut anybody off, but if you've got anything that you want to add to the show or any questions or comments, please feel free to fire those off.
Jeff Goen gets brought up again.
Yeah.
Jeff Goen.
Jeff Goen's look. Jeff Goen's a legend. He wrote the Powered Paragliding Bible.
Oh, so Russman will have his phone number.
Yeah, but
that is a great idea.
He would be great to have.
Enjoy this, probably. He likes to do stuff like this. For
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Chris,
You should reach out to him.
That's a great idea. So Jeff Goen, let me write this down.
Yeah.
He is a busy guy.
We have some other fellas that are possible, but if we could get Jeff, man, that would be great.
Why have I never heard of him? Is he a motor pilot
Yes.
exclusively?
No, he flies everything.
He's a commercial airline pilot.
Literally everything.
Oh wow! You know who else?
Super cool.
I don't know if he's still on here, but Yankee. He is, Yankee in SC1. He's a pilot too. We need to have him on the show, but he's been holding out on me. He keeps on telling me no. So we're just going to keep aggravating him until he says yes.
He says yes.
Yeah.
Get on the show.
Yeah. Get on the show.
Might as well.
Poor
He's
Mark.
got a unique perspective in the sport because he self-taught himself.
Go,
He taught
you weren't
himself
supposed to tell everyone.
Oh, come on. Everyone knows. Everyone on this channel knows.
That's why we became
So
friends
he's got
right
a
away.
unique perspective that people want to hear about.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, did he
it's
do that whole
definite-
series?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's an incredible pilot.
I'd say
really
that that's not my recommendation for paramotoring. Obviously, like
No.
But then again, I have loved ones that care about me, so I've.
He's a
tried-
pilot. He's flying real airplanes.
I think there's a
Yeah.
certain number of people that can pull it off, but it's not everybody can pull it off. I know I couldn't.
I love when people say, well, but I fly this plane and that plane. And I was like, that's great. So I've been flying, paramotors for 6 years. I've got however many hours. So can I just jump in your Cessna and fly it real quick?
He's like,
I'm like,
it's
how does
not
that
the
work?
same.
How is
It's
it
not the
It's
same.
not the same. But
He
Good
did
try.
he did his due diligence. He really did, and he documented the whole thing. So he said it's not my recommendation either, and I agree. Just so much easier.
Yeah, he acknowledged that on video too.
Yeah. Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like his videos, and yeah, instantly we became friends. He didn't even know it. Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna
What
have a
is
lot
this?
of motor guests.
Yeah, it's totally fine. I love it.
Hey, it's working out, man.
I love it.
Fun.
Anything that makes the sport safer, and if there's a place where we can come, the thing is, when I came and I said, let's do this, I thought if there was a place like this where I could go every week, man, I'd be there every week taking notes, and it's so cool because you can
Absolutely.
interact and people can ask questions, and then
Mhm.
yeah, it's super fun.
Cool.
I have
That's a
to,
great idea.
I have
Great
to say,
idea.
I stole the idea from these motor vloggers, these motorcycle guys, because I was riding motorcycles before I started flying. And for the record, I sold my motorcycle. You got to mitigate your risks, I think. And I had no self-control.
Well,
What fun is that?
Paramotoring's stolen a lot of concepts from moto vloggers, especially the Bluetooth Cena headset. That works amazing for paramotoring.
Yeah. There's a dude I saw posted a video on a motorcycle, and he was riding around San Diego, and I'm like, what? Where's this guy at? And I recognized where he was. I work downtown. And so I saw he went live, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And they're just, kicking each other in the butt the whole time, foul language, foul jokes, all that. And I'm like, that'd be cool if we could do it with paramotoring. So that's when I put the website and all that stuff, because we are piloting aircraft, so there's got to be some rules. But yeah, super fun. Yes. So again, go check out the description. There's a link to the website where you can buy equipment, and you can talk to Deanna about getting in the air. If you're not a pilot already, I encourage you to go do it. Make your dreams come true. There's no reason why you can't do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And I'll tell you what, no greater joy. It's really changed my life. One question I didn't get to ask, and I want to ask this: have you ever done any acro? And then, what books do you recommend?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. So you mean for people to read before training?
Yeah.
Oh. You kind of put me on the spot on this one.
Did you read any books before?
Everyone always. I'm so different. So I'm so hands-on. So I feel like, and it depends on the person. So, for sometimes people read books, and so how they incorporate it in their mind and then how they get out to train, we're like, no, that's not what that meant. And we have to break them of those habits. Sometimes just a clean slate, not knowing anything, our students listen so much better because they don't know. Whereas opposed to if they read this, read that, read all these things, they feel like they already know, and they're just like, yeah, I know. Let's just come on, let's get to the flying part. So I'm not saying there's not good books out there, and everyone's different, but Some people need to read stuff because it just reassures them that they can do it and they feel more confident when they show up for training. And that's great. You know, that's what those books are there for. But I also think that you don't really need to read any of the books, because you know what, that's what your instructor's there for, and they're going to hopefully teach you everything you need to know. And sometimes not knowing anything, you just listen so much better. So
yeah, it takes years to process this stuff, and I'm a slow learner, so being around other pilots was critical, and asking the questions and just really pushing, literally like pushing Phil to help me. But I just wanted to keep it safe. I have read a couple books, and I encourage you to do that, especially if you're doing the free flight stuff. One, because the weather is so critical to what we're doing.
Right.
You want to know about your lapse rate. You want to know what the thermal index is going to be like. You want to know what it's going to take. Where can you fly? What direction wind? Clouds suck. All these things can be very dangerous, and we're flying.
Definitely.
And know what a Virga cloud is.
And know what Virga is on the test. I missed that test question. The guy who signed me off literally was like, Robert, you answered correctly, but what is Virga? And I'm like, literally dinged me on that question, and that was the one that I missed. He still signed me off in the end, but he stressed me for a minute. I'm like, ooh, I hate you. I'm gonna fly no matter what. I told him, I'm like, I'm gonna fly no matter what. I'll fly dirty. I don't care. And he signed me off. Super cool guy. I won't name him just to save his face. All right, guys. Well, again, go check out the website, paraglidingtalk.com. Make sure you go. Make sure before you turn off your computer that you like the video and subscribe to the channel so you can find out what's going on. And whenever I go live, you'll see that little pop-up. Encourage you, again, fly safe and have fun. Check out the Patreon and donate as much as you can. Let's make this show. It'd be nice if I could just go full time on this show. Okay, guys, without anything else, we'll have a little post show if you guys want to hang out for just a second. And but other than that, thank you. Bunch of thanks for the from the chat. I really appreciate your questions and comments and keeping it professional. You guys are great, and we'll see you in the air.
Thanks, Robert. Thanks, Deanna.
Guys.
Bye. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
You're awesome, Deanna.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you guys. Thank you.
All right.